Hi, my name's Amelia, and today I'm heading to Bristol to try surfing at the wave, and I thought I'd bring you along. The wave in Bristol opened in 2019, and it's basically an artificial wave pool. So I've arrived at the wave. I was supposed to have my first lesson last week, but because of the train strike I couldn't actually get to Bristol. I wanted to say thank you so much to the team because they allowed me to move my lesson to this weekend, and I'm glad I did because the weather is so much better. I'm now doing a very long walk from the car park to the actual wave building. I think it's around 10-15 minutes you have to do the walk. You can't take your car, but it's not so bad because your day is really beautiful. I've never been surfing before. This was actually my first time. I've had probably around 2 hours of sleep, so I'm incredibly tired, and we're just gonna have to do our best and see how it goes. But fingers crossed, I'm gonna have a good time. The walk from the car park takes around 10 to 15 minutes, and as you're walking you'll notice a lot of people be skateboarding or cycling there. When you first arrive, on the right hand side you'll see that there is a shop, and the shop sells things like socks, surfer bracelets, there's even wetsuits, you can buy some towels, it's just all kind of surfer clothing. Then heading outside you get to see the wave pool. Now the wave pool is divided into two. I'm not entirely sure what the other side was for, but I mostly stayed to the right hand side because that was where all the lessons were being held. I did my lesson on a Saturday and it was incredibly busy, probably because the weather was so good. There are kids and families everywhere, people are on their bikes and skateboarding, and a lot of people come just to watch the other surfers. When it comes to checking in, you can check in on these online screens. You just head to the check-in area, type your name in, and then just say you're there for your lesson. I then picked up my wetsuit and headed to the changing rooms, which are outside. I think this will get very cold in winter. Also, a lot of the lockers were broken, which didn't help. So when the guy handed me my wetsuit, he didn't actually tell me that it was inside out, so me being incredibly stupid didn't even notice. So I spent so long trying to put the wetsuit on and then realised, oh my god, it's actually not right, and had to take the whole thing off again and put it on the right way around. But we got there eventually, and I will say, when you've got a wetsuit on, it's so much hotter than I actually thought it was going to be. I was absolutely sweating. I wear glasses and I'm pretty blind without them, so I had to get prescription goggles because you're not actually supposed to wear contact lenses in water. Although I would say, if you're like me, just don't even bother. It's so hard to actually surf in goggles. I ended up taking them off after the first 5 minutes. When your lesson starts, your instructor will gather you all together and then we'll talk to you a little bit about the wave pool, how to enter the wave pool, and then you will head over to get your helmet, your t-shirt and your surfboard. There are at least 16 people in my group, and originally I thought this was going to be a lot of people, but once you get going and you get in the water, you'll actually be thankful that you're queuing up with around 16 people because you get to rest in between catching waves. The instructor will teach you how to lie on your board, where to put your hands, and also how to jump up onto your board so you can stand. And if you're like me, the second you get into the water, you will forget everything. As someone who gets cold so easily, I will say you will not even notice the temperature of the water. The wetsuits are so thick, you will be incredibly warm. And we are off. What you tend to do is you tend to all stand in a line and then you take your turns at trying to catch a wave. I failed miserably many times. I pretty much couldn't stand up at all on my board, even though everyone else in my lesson could, and I was absolutely exhausted. I flipped over many times and many more times. By the time I had fallen off around 4 or 5 times, I didn't even have the strength to go back into the wave pool to try again. So it's so much harder than it actually looks, and I have so much respect for people who actually surf for like a hobby or a sport or whatever, because you have to have so much stamina and so much strength. And to be honest, I am so white. I think I am going to come back, but maybe I'll do like a beginner session and not a lesson. and instead what I'll do is I'll just practice trying to stand up on the board, because I also am so tired. Instructors are really great, everyone is doing so much better than I'm doing. I just think I need to come back another time when I've had a bit more rest. It was then time to get out of the wetsuit and go for a shower. I couldn't find any indoor hot showers, so I don't know what people tend to do in winter. Only bad thing I would say is that if you're a girl or you have long hair, there is literally nowhere to dry your hair whatsoever. And I even brought my little portable hairdryer with me, but there's nowhere to plug it in. There's also a little restaurant on site that serves things like fries and pizza, and I headed there after my lesson because I was so exhausted and I just needed to get some food. And there was also some really good live music. It was just such a nice place to come and chill, and I can kind of understand why people hang out here. And then it was time to do the long walk back to the car park. So just finished my lesson at the Wave and grabbed some food, and now I'm just going to head home. It was a really good day. I think the beginner lessons, they're actually really tough. I wish, rather than practicing on land and then you go straight into the waves, I almost wish there was a bit of time to practice what they taught us before the waves come out, because I've never even paddle boarded before, so I didn't even know how to paddle, let alone stand on the board. So I wish you could have tried that a few times first before the waves started. I probably will come back again and do some more sessions, because I'd like to get to the point where I can stand up on the board. But overall, I do think it is quite a good experience, and it is quite a nice day. I did have a really, really good time, and I will be back. When I was looking at surfing at the Wave, I couldn't really find any experiences online, so I hope this helps, and don't forget to subscribe.